Let's talk about Eslint, a tool that should be added to every JavaScript project out there. What is Eslint, how to install and configure it, and how to configure it with Webstorm on save. If this is your first time here at Code Emily, consider subscribing. I make lots of different videos all about JavaScript, React, what it's like to be a software engineer in the workplace. And now back to our scheduled programming. Eslint is a tool that can both find and fix code style issues. It is set up using a configuration file. This configuration file contains a set of rules onto how to style your code. This file can either be completely custom, it can follow the recommended config, or it can follow a public external pattern, like the Airbnb code style guide. Eslint can be added at any time in the development process. It's never too late to format and style your code.
Yeah.
Eslint will help prevent bugs in your project, improve code quality, and the developer experience. Examples of rules you can configure Eslint to look out for: erroring when there's console.logs, debuggers, erroring when trying to reassign const variables, not allowing unused variables, and so much more. Linting is often a step in the CI, continuous integration pipeline. What this means is that your code won't be able to get merged until those linting errors are fixed. Here we have just the bare bones Create React app without Eslint. Disclaimer, I've created this app using Create React app, but this tool has been deprecated by React. They're not adding any new features, and it's really not the best tool to use. I was just being lazy, and I just wanted to use a tool to quickly create a React app without Eslint configured already. Back to our scheduled programming. The first thing that we're going to do is install Eslint. And Eslint is pretty handy dandy in some really cool ways. Let's hit get started, and we're going to copy this quick start. So what this npm init command will do is it'll actually walk us through a set of steps where it'll ask us some questions, and then it'll create our config file for us, and it'll install all the dependencies that we need. Open up a new tab and paste this in here. Hit enter, and let's walk through the flow together. We're going to choose the third option just to, do the most, because we want to make sure that our code is the best we can possibly make it. Hit enter, and we're going to choose JavaScript modules, import exports. The way we tell that is because we have imports at the top. That's what we're doing. And then we're using React. Our project does not contain TypeScript, it's just JavaScript. Our code runs in the browser because we're using React. We're going to use the standard style guide just for this tutorial. Let's put the config file in JSON format. That's my favorite format for config files, but it really doesn't make a difference. So choose whatever you want here. And now it's asking us if we're down to install these dependencies, which we are. So let's hit yes. And the last question is just npm yarn or pnpm. We're using npm in this project, so I just hit enter here. And now it installs everything, which is always the longest part. Oh, okay, we're done. Heck yeah. But now if we go over into our build, we're now seeing these errors pop up. And in here, if we refresh, I'll restart the app. We're going to see the Eslint errors in here too. So now we see all these compilation errors. You're able to just close this easily by just hitting close, and it will still load up okay. It's because this is still able to compile. So we're still able to see code. It's not just going to error out because the code compiles. However, we're telling Eslint to warn us and to tell us about these errors because we care about them. We care about code style. We care about preventing bugs. We care about being good developers here, people. So if I hit enter again, we see all these compilation errors. Let's go over to our terminal and open up a new tab. And we're going to run Eslint manually. So if I do Eslint, next thing I'm going to type is src. So this will tell Eslint to run Eslint inside this source folder. We don't want to run it on the top because we don't want to format things like node modules or public because those aren't where we actually put our code into. Node modules gets generated automatically from package.json, and public is not something that we want to format. It's typically images, etc. So we only care about src source. So we just hit enter here. We'll see all the same errors that we're seeing over here, and we also see some errors in some other files too. Let's run eslint -- fix. So I do eslint src -- fix. This will fix all the actual fixable Eslint problems that don't require a manual fix from the developer. Let's hit enter here. We'll see we had 37 problems, and now we only have 9. Awesome. One of the problems that we're seeing is that React must be in scope when using JSX. This actually no longer is necessary to call out because after React 17, we no longer need to require React at the top of our file. However, we're just going to do this to fix the compilation error. I'm just going to import React from React. And now I'll run eslint src again. We're no longer seeing any errors except for our app.test.js file. So let's open that file up. We're going to do the same thing where we're importing React to the top. but we'll see when we run this that we still see 2 errors. And that's actually because of the fact that this is a test file. We need to ignore these types of errors because this is not an error within the test file. So let's override that error. The way that we fix this issue is actually by opening up our Eslint rc.json file. We have a couple of options for the env, our browser, and ES2 2021. What we want to do is add just as one of the environments. So I'm going to put a comma after our different environments, and I'm going to add just. I'm going to set just equal to true. We're making sure that we're running Eslint for a just file, not a regular React file. So let's run this one more time. We see that this has gone away. Now what I'll do is configure my IDE Webstorm to run eslint-fix on save. Go into settings, languages and frameworks, JavaScript, code quality tools, and then Eslint. I'll make sure that the automatic Eslint configuration radio button is checked, and then click on run eslint-fix on save, and hit OK. Right now this standard config doesn't care about semicolons at the end of lines, but guess who cares about semicolons at the end of lines? This girl. So we're going to fix that by doing an override. Let's open up our Eslint config file. So we're going to add a rule here, and the rule is going to be semi, that's the rule. And then the 2 says that we want an error, where 1 is a warning and 0 is disabling the rule. Here we're saying that we always want semicolons. If I go over to the app.js file, since I have Eslint set to run on save, I'm just going to hit enter a couple times, do Command S. Now we see we have semicolons everywhere. Amazing. Let's just restart our server. When we do, we see that error goes away for the extra semicolons. That was just it being out of sync. There are ways to ignore Eslint errors within your code by disabling the next line or by disabling a file. However, I really don't recommend doing this. If you start disabling Eslint errors, it's really a slippery slope. Really only ignore if it's absolutely necessary and make sure to have someone review it. If you're having to disable a lot of different Eslint errors, it could be a good idea to talk to your team about you actually need that part of your config. Eslint is an extremely powerful tool, and we really only scratch the surface on what it can do. Stay tuned for my next video all about Prettier and Eslint combined and how to set those up using Webstorm. Leave any comments below if you have any questions about either of those tools. I'd love to answer them for you and create another video. Thanks so much for watching. See you next time.